Chapter 8 The Boodle and Chisel Creed. It was a crisp, beautiful morning as Chisel walked back down the mountain. After leaving Francine, he felt like the happiest hedgehog alive after the excitement of the previous night and the great clues he was already finding. He hummed as he walked, and then mumbled some words to himself. Then he put both together, and as he sang, he skipped forward and back and shimmied to the side.
Here I go, 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 yeah, one time again. Here I go, 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 yeah, over and again. Here I go, 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 yeah, one time again. And over and over and over again. Here I go, 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 yeah, one time again. And when I'll be back, I can't say for sure. So here I go, go, yeah, one time again. Well, here I go, over and again. Here I go, yeah, one time again, and again and again and again, and again and again and again, and again and again and again.
He walked past the old mill and down Main Street to the schoolhouse. He arrived just a few moments before it was time to begin, saw Boodle, and excitedly told her, "You will never believe who I met." The school bell then rang, so he added, "I'll tell you at recess." In Chisel's class, the teacher stated, "This is a very important day. At the end of third grade, the mayor of the Hidden Valley and his advisors, the Valley Council, visit all schools to tell them our most important law." The mayor and Valley Council were sitting in the front of the class facing the students. The mayor rose and spoke. "Most of you don't know yet, but our valley is hidden from creatures on the outside called people." Chisel perked up when he heard this and started to raise his hand to say that he had met one last night. But before his hand got all the way up, the mayor continued, "Don't ever talk to one. If they knew about this valley, they would turn us into a huge zoo, because on the outside of the valley, animals don't talk. The law of the valley is very strict. It has never happened, but an animal who talks to a person will be kicked out of the valley." Chisel's eyes had slowly been opening further and further as the mayor was talking, and Chisel's hand had slowly sank to his side. Without moving his head, he moved his wide-open eyes slowly from his right to his left to see if anyone was looking at him. His eyes met Mr. Otter's, who was on the Valley Council and sitting with them in the front of the room. Mr. Otter was in charge of making sure all the laws were kept in the town of Shady Glen. He had been studying Chisel the whole time, and Chisel quickly looked down. The mayor and Valley Council were excused then, and the teacher continued with another lesson, but Chisel heard nothing. At recess, as Chisel walked out of the schoolroom, Boodle caught up to him. "You don't look so good, Chisel. Are you all right?" Chisel looked at her and repeated his earlier statement, but this time with no excitement. "You'll never believe who I met." Before he could tell her, Mr. Otter walked up. "I've been waiting for you, Chisel." He then started to laugh. "It's really rather funny, but this morning I saw you with a really tall animal, and I actually thought it looked like a people person. Isn't that funny?" Chisel laughed nervously. "Yes, funny. Gotta go." He then ran towards Shady Road Street, grabbed his flying skateboard, which was leaning against a tree, and ran all the way home. Mr. Otter yelled after him, "But what was that really?" Half an hour later, Boodle found Chisel hiding in the shed behind his house. He was pushing something into his full backpack, zipping it, and placing it on his back. "What's wrong, Chisel?" Chisel looked past her to the door of the shed. "Did anyone follow you?" "I don't think so," she answered. Chisel walked around her to the shed doors, peeked outside, and then closed them. Sun rays lit the shed through the spaces in the wooden slats that made the walls of the shed. "Can you keep a secret?" "Of course," she replied. Chisel continued, "I'm in trouble. I have met and talked to a people person." Boodle's eyes popped open very wide, and she exclaimed, "A people person?" Chisel nodded. "Yes." He then told her the whole story about meeting Francine and taking her into the valley. Boodle gasped. "Why'd you take her into the valley?" "I didn't know it was wrong, and I thought she might help us with the mystery of the valley. Remember that sundial with 12 numbers? I think it came from the People's City." "Oh, Chisel," she said, "don't ever talk to her again, or let anyone know, or you'll be kicked out of our valley. It's the law, and I'll never see you again." "I know," Chisel replied, "but if Mr. Otter keeps asking me, I will have to tell him. I don't tell lies. I tried it once and it tasted like rotten eggs, and I won't do it again." "Maybe if you don't see Mr. Otter until you get back from Volcano Island, he will forget about it." "And if he doesn't?" There was silence, and then Boodle spoke slowly. "Maybe if we really do solve the mystery of the valley and who started it, they'll have mercy on you and not kick you out." Chisel pressed his lips together, squinted, and stated, "It's my only hope." Boodle added, "Every day we will start anew. We'll cover every corner of the valley looking for anything that is old that might be a clue. Enough old things put together might tell a story." She put her hand on his shoulder. "It might be hard and it might be long, but this I know, we can." Hope reappeared on Chisel's face. He grabbed a piece of paper and a pencil, and on the top he wrote the Chisel and Boodle Creed. After writing the creed together, Chisel got out his little black book and wrote the first 2 clues. Clue number 1, people speak same language as us. Clue number 2, sundial has 12 numbers, but Hidden Valley clocks only have 10 numbers. Did it come from People's City? Then they went outside. Chisel rubbed his chin thinking and told Boodle, "Listen, you'll need some money in the big city for food and stuff. I've never told anyone this, but there is a treasure of gold coins in a dirty brown stream in a place called Putan's Forest near the big city." He then told her how to get there and where to find them. Then they clasped their right hands and stated their Chisel and Boodle creed together. "On the journeys of discovery we now do go, to find the clues of the time before. We shan't return till we find at last the needed news to find the past." They clasped their left hands together also and said, "This we promise, this we pray." They hugged and whispered in each other's ears, "Good luck, good friend, till we meet again." Boodle then left, and Chisel waved goodbye from his backyard. At the same time Chisel was waving, Mr. Otter was knocking on Chisel's front door to find out if he had talked to a people person. And that is what started Chisel running for his life from Mr. Otter and others to Volcano Island, and what started Chisel Hedgehog's crazy great summer. Saturday, June 5th. Chisel blinked, and his memories of 4 days ago vanished. He looked around and remembered he was lying in the bottom of a sailboat heading to Volcano Island. He looked at the moon and wondered what Boodle was doing. Boodle was also admiring the moon at the same time that Chisel was from the boat. She also lay snugly under a blanket, but miles away from Chisel, on soft grass in a meadow in Putan's Forest. She was tired after her walk across the valley and her search for the treasure coins, but now she was comfortable, relaxed, and a little richer. The great treasure she found, though, was not the gold coins she would spend that Chisel told her about, but something else, far more valuable than gold. Just before entering Putan's Forest, she stopped and turned her head around to look across the dirt road at the area known as the Haunted Woods. The moaning and groaning coming from the woods was awful. but she couldn't see anything through the dense forest and overgrowth. When she was just ready to turn and run into Putan's forest, she saw the sun sparkle on something shining on the dirt road just under the leaf of a bush. She hesitated, but couldn't resist walking over to see what it was. 1 foot at a time, she tiptoed across the street, while keeping her eyes on the woods in case a monster jumped out of the bushes. Finally, at the bush, she slowly and silently bent over while keeping her head up and looking at the bushes. Then, quickly, all in one motion, she shot her arm down to where she had seen the sparkle, grabbed all the dirt where the thing had been, and ran back toward the other side of the street. She kept running far enough into Putan's forest until she could no longer hear the moaning, and then sat down on a log to rest. She sat panting, trying to catch her breath, and looked at her clenched fist. She looked around, scared that maybe one of the moaning monsters had followed her, and then turned her hand over and slightly opened her fingers so that the dirt slowly fell through them. A shape slowly started to show, then more and more of it as the dirt disappeared. It was a silver ring. She slowly turned the ring around and studied several small engravings. A sundial, clock, a rainbow, the initials MTB, 10M, 3 coins, 4 unicorns, 2 houses, and 2 books. On the inside was inscribed the words, "The Hidden Valley," and a date from 110 years ago. "This is the oldest thing I have ever seen." She put it on her finger and wrote a clue in the black book that Chisel had given her. A silver ring with several small engravings dated 110 years ago. What do the engravings mean? Back in the sailboat, Chisel said good night to the moon and snuggled up in his blanket. He had escaped from the mean minks, but now hoped he could make it to Volcano Island and not get lost at sea forever. "I feel there are clues that await me there, but there are also wild, savage monkeys." What Chisel didn't know was that on Volcano Island there was also a swamp monster, trees that grew feathers, an erupting volcano, more diamonds than he could ever use, a secret he would discover that was the biggest in the world, and that he might have to stay on the island for the rest of his life, and much more. Chisel's whole summer will turn out to be one perilous adventure after another, in places like the jungles of Volcano Island, the haunted woods, Look-Around Mountain, and the Cave of the Tooth. Chisel will have to develop plans of escape, including disguises number 1, 2, and 3, use his flying skateboard hot air trash bag balloon plane, and create the worst stink bomb recipe in the world to subdue his pursuers. He must overcome his own fear and despair, always looking on the bright side of life by singing his songs of optimism. Then, when all seems lost, he must decide whether to follow mysterious images that appear to him. Each day, follow Chisel on the master map. Listen to the songs he sings, and enjoy the pure hoot-balootin' fun, adventure, and optimism. Then journey with Chisel as he builds the world's largest tree house, to shoot tomatoes at the flying squirrels with his giant slingshot. Discover with him how to make gum with amazing flavors like buttered popcorn and pepperoni pizza, and see if he can find the treasure of Putan's forest. Then envision Chisel saying, "Hope is free and hope is mine. Today I grab it and will not let go. And if anyone has lost it, come see me. I have plenty you can borrow." You'll find all this and more in Chisel Hedgehog's tragic but amazing, Crazy Great Summer.